All right, so for this book, I have the cover that I made, and then I have a stack of papers. I have 20 papers for this book in different colors, just to make it more interesting. And these papers are cut the same size as the cover. So they're cut 8.5 by 9.5. So I just took a regular piece of paper and I cut 1.5 inches off the end. So this goes underneath the cover. And then I have this. This is called chipboard, and it's just kind of a thin cardboard. And it is cut, it's gonna be the bottom of the book, so it's kind of stiff, so to give it a good sturdy support. And then it's gonna wrap around the edge and go lay over the top a little bit, and that's gonna be where our stitching is. So this one has two lines, two embossed lines carved into it. And that is, the first line right here is at 9.5 inches. So it's the same size as the papers, the pages, and the cover. And then there's a 1/4 inch gap, and then the second line. And then there's 1 more inch beyond that. So in total, it's 10 3/4 inch long. I just trimmed a 1/4 inch off of the 8.5 by 11 piece that I had. So I'm gonna first fold it along those two embossed lines. Just like that. And then this will slip right inside. Just like this, so you can see how it wraps over right there. Okay, so now that we have all the pieces together, we're gonna use binder clips to hold everything in place while we work on the next step. So I'm just gonna use that right in there. Put another one. And that just helps hold everything together while we're getting it ready to go. Okay, so for Japanese binding, we need an odd number of holes, and we need them to be evenly spaced along the whole strip right up here. So an easy way to do that is to get a piece of paper that is the same width, so that's the same size, and you're just gonna fold it in half. And then you're gonna fold it in half again. And you're gonna fold it in half one more time. Now when you unfold it, you've got it evenly divided, and you are gonna mark your holes right where all of those folds are. That makes sense. So I've got my first fold right here. So I'm gonna put a little mark on this chipboard right there. And I'm gonna do a little mark where every fold is. All right, and we want them to be lined up pretty well. We want the holes to be at about the halfway point. From here to here, we want the holes to be about halfway. We don't want to do them too close to this end here, and we don't want to do them too close to this edge here. So right down the center is where we want to do that. All right, so now that we have our spots marked, this is where we want to put holes, and we're going to use a special tool called an awl. It's spelled A-W-L, and that's what this is. It's got a point at the end and a good thing to grip so you can push and really put some pressure on here. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use this to poke a hole all the way through your whole book. So from the top all the way through the bottom. Now I put a notebook underneath to act like a guard so I don't dig a hole into the tabletop. If you have a cutting mat, that works really nicely too, or a pile of newspaper or anything like that. But you want something to protect your tabletop, because otherwise you're gonna end up with holes in it. So I just take the tip of this awl and I stick it right where that first hole is, and then I twist back and forth and get it all the way through the whole book. So you can see how it's coming out this back side right there. And I am gonna do that on all 7 of my holes. Now this one is a little close to my binder clip, so I'm gonna scoot that down. So dig it in. Check and make sure it went all the way through, which it did. All right, so I now have 7 evenly spaced holes right down the center of this strip. So next we get to start sewing. Okay, so I have picked a string that I think will work well with my smiley face, and I have threaded it onto my needle, and I want this to be a double thickness when I sew it. So what I did is I went to the very end and I matched up the 2 ends so they are together and pulled it onto my needle. So I have this now. All right, I also put letters on each of the holes so that I could explain this process a little bit easier. You won't write those letters on your holes. I just put that there so you could see what I was talking about. All right, so for the first step, we are gonna start on hole B. So this second one over, not on A. We're gonna come back to A in a minute, but we're gonna start on B. And we're gonna start by being underneath the book and poking the needle through B to the top. And you're gonna pull it through, and you are gonna leave a little tail of your thread, about 6 inches of tail. Doesn't have to be exact, but just because you're gonna need this to be able to tie a knot at the end. So you've come up through hole B and you've left a little tail, and now I pushed the tail out of the way. Now you're gonna wrap that string around and you're gonna come up through hole B again. So this is the second time through hole B. And as you pull it through, it's gonna leave this string behind right there. So that is your first section. Now we're gonna move over to hole A. So we're gonna backtrack a little bit to A. And this time with hole B, you came up and wrapped around and came up again. This time you're gonna go down. So you're gonna go down through hole A, then you're gonna wrap it around and you're gonna go down through hole A again. So this is our second time through hole A. And you can see how you've wrapped it around again. So our string is on the bottom side because you went down through hole A. Now you're gonna wrap the string around this way on the side, and you're gonna go down through hole A for the 3rd time. So down through hole A, to wiggle it, it's getting a tighter fit in there now. And you're gonna pull it through, and you're gonna make sure that the string wraps around that edge over here. Okay, so you've gone 3 times through hole A, and right now the string is on the back of hole A. Now across the back of the book, we're gonna go and we're gonna take it up hole B again. So this is our 3rd time into hole B. So we're gonna pull that up and through. Now I'm gonna turn it over so that you can see how it looks on the back side. So we've got the strings that go across here, and we've got the 2 that wrap around here. So we pull it back over. Okay, so now we have our thread coming up out of hole B. So now we're gonna go across to hole C, and we are going to keep this tail out of the way. So go down into hole C, pull that through. It's gonna leave a thread going across. Now we're gonna wrap it around again and go down through hole C for the 2nd time. So we pull that through. Make sure our tail isn't getting wrapped up in there. Make sure it's not getting wrapped around our binder clip. There we go, down through hole C again. Okay, we are not gonna do our third time through hole C yet. We'll come back. So now we're gonna move over across the back of the book and go up hole D. So it was down hole C, up hole D. Go through here. Now we're gonna wrap it around and come up through D for the second time. So 2 times through D, wrap the thread. Now you'll notice there's a blank spot right here. There's not a thread there, but that's okay. We're gonna come back and catch it later. So now we're gonna move to hole E. So if you'll notice, these holes we're only going through 2 times. So down through hole E, wrap the thread around and go down through hole E for the second time. There we go. Now we're gonna go across and we're gonna go up hole F. So there's 1 time through hole F. Now we're gonna wrap it around and we're gonna go up through hole F for the second time. And you'll notice we've left another blank spot, but that's okay. We're gonna catch it later. Now we've done twice through F. Now we're gonna go through G. So you're gonna go down through G. This one's a little tighter. There we go. Going down through G. Now we're gonna wrap around and we're gonna go down through G for the second time. Make sure we don't wrap around that binder clip. Okay, now because G is the very end, we're gonna go ahead and do the third time through G, but this time we're gonna wrap around the edge again right over here and go down. So we're gonna go down into G for the third time. Now if it gets really tight, I'm just gonna use the table to push that thread through because it's a tight fit. Okay, turn it back over. So it's going down through G for the third time, and this time the thread's gonna wrap around this edge right here. Okay, so we've hit G 3 times. Now it's time to backtrack and pick up the blank spaces. There are 2 blank spaces on the front, and there is a blank space, 2 blank spaces on the back. We're gonna catch those now. Okay, so this is now under the book. So we're gonna go across to F, and we're gonna go up through F for number 3. This is the third time through F. Now we're gonna go straight across to E, cover up that gap. Pull that through. Now we're gonna go across the back of the book up D. And I'm using the table to help push my needle through. Now we're gonna go straight across and down through C. Okay, so now the front has no gaps. They are all filled in. If you turn it over to the back, we just have 1 gap left. I'm gonna take that binder clip off so you can see it. We have our tail that we originally started with, and we have our thread that's right here. So all we need to do now is tie a knot, and that will finish us off. So I just tie a double knot. Loop it through, go down, loop it through again. Maybe find someone who can hold their finger down for you, hold that tight. And that's it, you are done. And then you just cut it off and you leave a little bit of a tail, but not much. Take off your binder clips and it is finished. Now your book is all bound together. All your pages are hooked in and you are finished.